welcome back. I'm the City Witch. So today's video I'm going to be teaching you two completely different spells for protection magic. They both come with two completely different incantations and they're worked differently. So one of them is about incorporating mirror magic for defense and making a charm that you can keep charging over the course of a year, and the other one is working a different style of candle magic where you call upon a goddess known as the triple goddess in order to help you with that spell. So having said that, now I'm also going to show you a recommended book for protection magic. It's one of the best that I've read this year so far, and I did promise I was going to talk about it, so it's going to be a mini review as well. So it's this one. It's called Protection Magic Spells for Defense by Cassandra Eason, and it looks like that. Now I do absolutely recommend this book, guys. This is fantastic. Protection spells, I mean, there's no protection spell out there that kind of do absolutely everything. There is specific spells for very specific things, and this book kind of outlines that very, very well. So I'm going to read you the content and give you an idea of some of the different types of protection spells that are out there that you can incorporate into your magic. So this has a full introduction on how to use the book, and then chapter 1 is protection from and reversing spells, jinxes and bad luck. Chapter 2, protection from and wards against paranormal attacks. Chapter 3, breaking curses and ill wishing from individuals, families and workplaces. Chapter 4, breaking written or spoken hexes by magical practitioners, amateurs or professional. Chapter 5, protection from bullying, abuse and intimidation, both physical and psychological. Chapter 6, protection from destructive and abusive love, deceptions, stalkers and always loving the wrong person. Chapter 7, protection from cyberbullying, social media nasties and online dating hazards and internet frauds. Chapter 8, protection from the evil eye of envy. Chapter 9, creating psychic wards and wardens for powerful protection. Chapter 10, protection from fears, phobias, addictions and personal obsessions. Chapter 11, protection from financial loss, financial problems and debt. Chapter 12, creating protective psychic shields around you. Chapter 13, protection of the home and all within. Chapter 14, protection in the workplace, your career and business. Chapter 15, protection while travelling and commuting. Chapter 16, protection from injustice, both legal and personal, and corruption. Chapter 17, protecting children from harm and fear. Chapter 18, protecting teenagers and young adults. Chapter 19, spells for teenagers and young adults to cast to deal with stresses, complexities and problems of modern life. And chapter 20, protection for pets and wildlife. And then you do get an index as well and a little bit about the author. So, I mean, she covers just about everything in this book, and all the spells are pretty simple to do and really easy. I like the way she's laid the book out, and some of the spells have symbols that you can incorporate in the magic, and some of them have imagery as well. So that one, for example, incorporates the infinity symbol. So there's a number of different things she has in this which I really enjoyed working with and using. I do think that there's a lot that you can gain from this book, so if you are interested in learning some defensive magic and adapting your own spells, I recommend this one. If nothing else, it'll give you a basis for all the different types of spells that you can consider making, and of course the symbol on the front of the book is also a symbol of protection as well, so that's something you can incorporate in your craft. So I do really like her magic and her style, and I really like her books. She has one of these for love and prosperity magic as well, and I have them all, and they're all just as good as each other, guys. They're all really good, really interesting information, fantastic collection of spells. So if you are thinking about getting into protective magic and looking for a good book on the subject, this gives you lots and lots of spells to work with, and all the incantations and the ingredients lists in there as well, and she gives you a time frame on when to cast them. The one thing she doesn't do with many of these is tell you how to dispose of them. So if you're looking for ways to dispose of your magic, guys, think logically and think on some of the things I've already said in my other videos, such as burying them, burning them, or if they are degradable and safe for the environment, you can also throw them into running water, especially if the spells you want to be taken away from you. So think about those a little bit as possible choices for disposal. And if it's a negative, baneful spell, as in, you know, something you're trying to destroy or remove from your life, it's always good to bury them in graveyards, at crossroads, or you can chuck them in the trash because you're saying that the curse is trash. and then get rid of it. But don't ever chuck a positive spell of protection or any positive work just simply in the bin once you're done, because you're giving all the wrong energies to it. It must be kept protected and safe until it manifests on your property, and then it must be dealt with in the correct ways using all the correct energies. So without further ado, I'm now going to let you see the spells. So I hope you like them, guys, and I'll see you in a minute. Hey everyone, so this is going to be spell number 1 in this protection video. So there's going to be a few items that I'm recommending you get for this particular spell. The first one is you're going to need a way to light your candle. I'm choosing a lighter, but you can choose matches, whatever suits your needs. You're also going to need a candle. Now, I've actually chosen this triple goddess candle because this spell does actually incorporate the triple goddess as a protective quality, but feel free to actually just use a plain black or white candle. You can even use a tea light like this. It doesn't have to be a really big candle. It depends on your preference. You're also going to want to get a protective dish where the candle can burn safely unhindered. Now, I do recommend a dish that has a slightly reflective quality. That's also a good idea for all protection spells. And then a pen and paper, and of course a way to cleanse all your tools. Now, I'm going to choose Palo Santos, but feel free to choose whatever you feel most comfortable with. Now, as I mentioned before, you can just use a plain black or white candle. Black is the best type of colour for this type of spell. Black has reflective, protective qualities to it. It's used in defence against the dark arts, and it's an excellent colour for all protection work. So that is probably the best colour, but if you can't get your hands on a black candle, a white candle we will do in a pinch. White as a candle can actually be used to replace any other colour in a spell. I'm also going to mention to you guys that this spell will only last about a year, so you're going to want to recast this on a regular basis. So what I tend to do when I've cast this is I make a note of the date that I cast it in my diary, and then I roll on a year ahead, and then a few days before I know it's due to run out, I set an alarm on my phone and make a note in my diary just to tell me that I need to recast before it runs out. So I'm constantly always protected because of the qualities of this spell. All spells have a time frame, guys. Nothing is going to be forever, so you do need to keep up a regular routine with these kinds of spells. So that's another bit of advice for you. And I would also say that if you're going to cast a spell like this, it's not going to protect against illness, and it's not going to protect against the virus that's out there right now. There is no spell out there that is going to protect against the virus. If anyone tells you different, I'm sorry to say, but it's more likely a scam, guys. I haven't found a single spell that's going to do that, and I have no knowledge of any spell out there successfully being able to do that. So this spell is more to protect against outside evil forces, negativity, to exercise your space from all forms of hate, pain, fear, those kinds of energies. And it's also really good for keeping away thieves, people that are wrongdoers that would take from you and do you harm. And it's really good at keeping evil out of your home. So evil like demons, daemons, monsters, entities, that kind of a thing. So you're protecting your home, your space and your family from outside forces that actually want to come in and do you harm. But a virus isn't specifically trying to do you harm. It just is what it is, and it's doing what it's been created to do. So it's like, you know, telling a lion that it's wrong for trying to eat you when it's hungry. It's just natural base instinct. So that's why a protection spell won't protect against the virus, because it's not perceived as evil. It just is what it is. Okay, guys? Another thing I'd say to you is to gather up some herbs that are going to be useful for this spell in order to dress the candle and boost its protective qualities. Now, I have a number of those items that I'm going to recommend to you. Please feel free to add in any that I haven't, ones that you feel comfortable with, and don't feel you have to use all of these that I'm mentioning. I'm just giving you a large variety so you've got choices and options, but ultimately I want you to choose what works for you and makes you feel comfortable while you're casting. So one of the first recommendations I have for you is Himalayan pink salt. Now this is an excellent one for when you're working with family and loving bonds of energy, so friendship, that kind of a thing. It's good at transferring and transmuting wishes. It's really good at protecting. It has a very cleansing quality, and it's also one of the salts that heals at the same time, and it also absorbs psychic negative energy and repels it, so that's also really good. So that's why I like pink Himalayan salt, because it's specific to protecting family and keeping loved ones safe. Birch leaves is another good one. That one is really good at protection. It helps remove evil, negative spirits. It exorcises general evil from your home. It purifies your space and cleanses it. And it's also good at preventing psychic negative attack and removing any witchcraft done against you from another magical practitioner. Angelica root does something similar. It's used against all forms of evil spells, curses, and also repels negative spirits and is a general protection herb. You also have anise star that has protective and purification qualities to it and really good again at keeping away all forms of evil, but it also repels specifically the evil eye. You've also got eggshell powder. Now eggshell powder is actually one of my faves and I do have a video on how to make it. Eggshell powder is really good at helping you circle cast. It has protective and shielding qualities to it, and when added to salt and dragon's blood, it gives those two items, dragon's blood and salt, an extra power boost in a spell. So that's also a really good quality of it. Clove buds is another one. It's good for protection. It's good for protection in certain areas of your life as well. So love, money, fidelity, and success. And it's really good at exercising negative things that are already in your life, like removing them from your life. You've got white willow bark. That is really good at specifically protecting your home against evil. So that's what I'm definitely going to use in this spell. And it's also good for removing spirits that have been conjured or sent against you. Then you've got lemon verbena. That one is really good for purification and defends against all forms of negative energy. Then you've got rosemary. Rosemary is good to ward off evil spirits. It's good at psychic detoxification, meaning it will psychically detox you and remove anything stuck in your third eye and in your aura. It's also good at purification, and it's also good at protecting your dreams from being invaded, so it stops psychic vampires. It's good for communication, and it's really good for past life recall as well. And then you've got snapdragon. Snapdragon is one of my faves. It's really good at protection against hexes and curses, and it helps break them. So if there's anything on you negatively that's been done by another practitioner, that will automatically just snap that spell and remove it. It's one of the best out there, so I do recommend that one as well. Now, another thought is to anoint your candle. So ones I recommend is something like a dragon's blood oil, and I will link all the information below so you know where to get these from. This one I generally bought on eBay from a seller I really like to buy from. She does really good quality magical oils. So dragon's blood is really good for protection. It's also good for love. So as we're talking about the bonds of love and family, this is an excellent oil to use. An essential oil you can consider using would be frankincense. I really like using frankincense oil for protection spells because it doesn't just protect, it also exorcises anything negative that's already in your space, thus removing it completely. So you know that your energies in your space is clear and you know that you're safe. If you don't have any of those oils, don't worry, you can just use olive oil. So just like the white candle can replace any other colour in a spell, olive oil can also replace any oil in a spell. So you can use that in place of any of the oils I've just mentioned. Research all of the herbs and the ingredients that I've recommended to you. Choose the ones that you like the most and don't feel you have to use them all, guys. Just choose the ones that you want to use. And during your research, you might actually come across a few different items that you might want to consider using in your spell, and that's completely fine. Make the spell unique to you. Now, when I come to read the spell, as always, I will show it to you as well, so you have an opportunity to pause the video and copy it if you want. During part of the spell, it does use the word protect my family. So the word family can actually be replaced. You can replace that with home, loved ones, partner, pets. You can replace it with a certain location. So you could say an address, or you could say your work, business, company name. It's completely up to you. So don't forget, spells can be altered to your specifications and needs. And actually, I always recommend doing that anyway. So I wouldn't recommend just doing this spell exactly as I'm doing it step by step. Add in things that are unique to you and your craft and design it and make it your own, because that's going to make it work 10 times better for you than just simply copying exactly what I do. So as I say, you're definitely going to need a way to light your candle, a candle of your choice. As I say, I'm going with this one because it's literally a triple moon goddess and that's what we're going to be using. You're going to need a protective dish to let it burn down on, nice and safe. And you're going to need a pen and paper to write down the information of the people, the place, or the place of work that you wish to protect. And you're also going to need a way to cleanse your tools. So I'm choosing Palo Santos. So always start by cleansing all your tools so you know there's no outside negative forces attached to any of the items that you've selected. especially your candle, guys, because you don't know who's been touching it, how positive they were when they were making it, what frame of mind they were in. You always want to make sure that everything is fully and utterly cleansed so that your spell is not had any interference at all. Once that's done, you're then going to want to take your pen and paper and you're going to write out who you wish to protect. Now for this one, I'm going to be choosing family, but obviously I'm not going to tell you my real family members, guys, for, you know, obvious reasons. So I'm going to write down Bill, Ben and Bob. Okay. Now, as we're going to be doing this spell to protect, so you want to repel evil and negative away from them. You want to turn this counterclockwise, so you want to go that way. Now, I'll just show you that again. So as if you're facing, so you're facing the paper, you're going to want to turn it so it's traveling that way, like that. And the reason you're doing that is because what you're doing is you're choosing to repel all the negative forces, thus protecting the people in the middle. Now, if you were attracting something to you, you would turn it clockwise because that attracts and draws things into your life. And this is how petition works. Then you're going to want to write on the paper across the names things you want to protect them from. So I would say a statement like, these people are protected from all forms of evil, ill wishes, entities, gossip, negativity, hate, bullying, and what else should we say? And will avert the evil eye. So that's just something really general. So in that, I've covered all forms of evil. So that's quite a powerful statement. I've also said all ill wishes, entities, gossip, negativity, hate, bullying, and will avert the evil eye. Once you've done that, I often like to just draw a pentagram once I finish the statement. You can choose to draw a sigil if you want at that point, or if you specifically want to and you want to incorporate a special symbol or maybe a family crest, you could draw that over the top. It's completely up to you. Now, again, you're going to want to turn it away from you for a third time, and then you're going to want to sign across it. So let's just say that's my signature, and you want to do that 3 times. Then when you've finished, it'll look like a hot mess, but that's kind of the point. Then you're going to want to fold it away from you. And again, at each turn, you turn it away from you like that. So it'll end up as a little parcel, and you just want it to be a parcel that's big enough that it's going to sit comfortably underneath your candle, like so, just so that it's hidden by the candle. And the idea is, as you charge, anoint the candle with all its energies, and it's surrounded by those protection energies, that as the candle burns down, it's burning all of that energy into the atmosphere of your home, protecting the people on the sheet of paper underneath. And if the paper actually catches fire at the end, that's actually a really good sign, because your petition has been taken to the heavens. If it doesn't though, don't panic. You can bury the remains of the candle and the paper on your property somewhere and tell the earth you want this spell protected so that it always remains safe. Now, it's okay to bury wax and the paper in the earth, because the earth can biodegrade all this naturally, so it's not going to be harmful at all. And actually, it's a good way to dispose of your spell with all the right energies included. Okay, guys, so the next thing you're going to want to do is to anoint your candle. So this bit, I like to take the essential oil onto my finger and rub it in. So doesn't need a lot, just enough that you're coating the candle. You can choose to use a brush if you choose. I tend to just use my fingers. As I say, I quite like to use frankincense, so I'm going to add a couple of drops of that in there as well. And again, just quickly rub that in. Once that's done, I'm now going to choose my herbs. And as I say, I have a number of these. So the first one I'm going to start with is pink Himalayan salt. Again, it's one of my faves and it's got all the right energies. So I literally just sprinkle that around. You don't need a massive amount. The idea is that each of these are going to be offering protection. Another one of my faves is birch leaves. So again, just a little sprinkling of that. And again, feel free to add them on top of the candle. As they've been anointed, the herbs should stick. As I say, I'm definitely going to use white willow bark. Again, that's another one of my faves. And also it's a good herb to offer to the goddess as well. It's a sacred one to the triple goddess. And I also really like to work with clove buds. It's another one of my faves. So I'm also going to add a couple of those in there for protection qualities, like so. And they have a really nice smell to them as well. Now they're the ones I've chosen to use, but as I say, choose the ones that you feel you like or that you're drawn to. There's no right or wrong combination. It just needs to be whatever you feel you want to use. So now I've done that, I'm now going to charge my candle with my spell and tell all the ingredients what I want it to do. So I always start with the ingredients first. So I'm going to surround the candle with my hands. At this point, if you have a wand or an athlum, you can wave it around the top of the candle, or you can draw a pentagram over the top for protection, or you can trace the line of the candle if it's a triple goddess one to incorporate this symbol as you say in the spell. All of that are really good ways to charge and draw up energy. I call upon the energies of the pink Himalayan salt, the birch leaves, the clove buds and the white willow bark. I call upon you all to protect these people listed below, to protect them from all forms of negativity and harm, to absorb evil and destroy it, to keep away all baneful energies, including curses, hexes, crossing and jinx work done by any other magical practitioners. I also call upon you to protect against entities, demons, daemons, ghosts and poltergeists that are harmful to my family. And I call upon you to purify the space you are set within and keep all of my members of the family safe from all harm. And I also would like you to keep my members of the family safe from anyone that I do not know about. So all unknown factors that I have not mentioned clearly here. Blessed be. Now you might have noticed that during that I also said unknown factors. So there's obviously a lot of things in life that we can't predict. So I like to add in the unknown element to a lot of my spells, just so I'm covering all my bases. But you feel free to do it as you wish, guys. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna say my spell. And again, I like to do this by surrounding it. If I had my wand or my athlum, I would be circling the top, charging this with the spell. And this is the spell. New moon waxing full or wane, I call protection in your name. I call upon maiden, mother and crone, protect my family and protect my home. As I will it, so shall it be. Blessed be. And there you go, guys. So that is the spell pretty much finished. Word of note as well, don't do what I did and have a lighter that was running low. Make sure you always have a spare. It's probably why it's better to use matches, I suppose. And that's it. And then if you have to leave the candle, guys, and you're leaving the house, don't leave it exposed. Just make sure that you snuff it, don't blow it out. That kind of puts a pause on your spell and you can relight it as and when. So, like that. Okay? Now all I did there was I wetted my fingers and then I snuffed it, so my fingers are protected, but you can use a candle snuffer as well. Nobody burn themselves, please. And that is it, that's the spell. I know it doesn't look particularly beautiful on there, but it's not meant to be beautiful, it's meant to be protective. Now this is quite an old dish, so feel free to use something really nice. You can put this on an altar, a shrine where you have pictures of your family. You can use a photograph of your family rather than a petition and write all the names and date of births of the family members on the back of it if you choose. As say, you can choose to use a business card underneath if you wanted, and you could choose to write your petition over the business card. It is completely up to you. You can get creative with these spells, and they are very, very versatile, guys. But as I say, this one in particular, I focused a lot on the protection of family and home to keep you safe, and the effects will last for a full year. Now I'm going to move on to the second spell. Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is the second spell of the video, and all you're going to need for this is some kind of a protective dish to lay this on. You're also going to need a mirror, so I'm choosing this one. This one was a coaster I bought around Christmas time, so this was super cheap. I think it cost me like £1, so not expensive at all, guys. You don't have to have it this shape. You can choose to have a round one, a square one, a triangle one, whatever you find is fine, just so long as it is a mirror. You can also choose to buy an old antique mirror and lay it flat, or you could choose to use a stand-up mirror, kind of like the kind you have in a bathroom, or you can use an antique one where it kind of moves like that on a head, and you can actually aim the mirror to protect whatever you want based on where you're setting it. So if it's set here, you could aim the mirror down so it's looking upon it and deflective energies away, or you could choose to have the mirror kind of turned so it's facing up and the item that you're protecting underneath, so the mirror is deflecting things away from above. It's completely up to you, and this is a very versatile spell. Again, you can choose to protect anything you like in this spell, but specifically I'm focusing on family protection for these two, so that's what I'm going to work on in this. So you will also need a tea light for this spell, and you will also need some kind of a container. So this one is mine. I prefer to use glass because glass is recyclable and much easier to dispose of, and also reuse in spells when you cleanse and clean them. So this is one of mine, and I have drawn on it the protective symbol of the crescent moon, which also connects into the goddess and her energies. So feel free in Sharpie to draw any symbols of protection onto the glass. It's completely up to you how much you embellish it. If you don't have a mirror, another alternative is to line the inside and the outside of your container with foil. Foil can be very reflective, as it's got that kind of quality to it where you can see yourself in it. So that is another option, but that should be a last resort, guys. A mirror is much better for this spell. You're also going to need a lighter and a pen and paper and a way to cleanse your tools. Now you're also going to need some ingredients to embellish this with, and you're going to want to pop them inside the jar. So I did go through a number of them in the first video, so I'm just going to list their names in this one but not tell you all the qualities, and for that please watch the first half of the video. So items that you could include are pink Himalayan salt, birch leaves, angelica root, anise star, eggshell powder, clove buds, white willow bark, lemon verbena, rosemary, and snapdragon. And you can also choose to include the oils of dragon's blood, frankincense, or if you don't have them, you can replace those with olive oil. You can also add crystals into this if you choose, and you can also add charms or symbols of things you want to protect. All of these spells are very versatile, and I encourage you to change and adapt them to your style. They don't have to be one way, and certainly don't directly copy them from me. All spells tend to work best for the caster who created them, and as this is my spell, it'll work best for me because I designed and made it. So I do encourage you to embellish upon it, maybe change the wording in the spell a little bit, maybe add in something to it so it just becomes more yours, or more something you like and you're happy with. Again, with the embellishments, some of the ones I've mentioned, you could think outside the box. You might have come up with something that I haven't, so that's completely fine. Now, the idea behind placing the candle on top of this to charge it is to imbue it with all the energies. Now, I like to use a tea light because it doesn't burn for too long. I can keep an eye on it really easily, and I can do them multiple times throughout the year. So I tend to divide my year up and do them in intervals just to keep this charged and active. But the reason I like to use a tea light is so that I can also shake up the energies in the jar. So I tend to keep this in my bedroom, and I'll give it a good shake every couple of days just to make sure the energy is alive, active, and still doing what I want them to do. And if I need to add anything in, I can do, because there's been no wax that's poured over the lid and sealed it. But I know many witches out there, when they do jar magic, they choose to have candles on the inside, and as it burns to a certain length down, they put the lid on, trapping all those energies inside, which is really good for manifestation. Some of them also choose to use the lid and burn the candle down the lid and then pop that on top, or they choose to stand the candle on top of the lid and let the wax burn down all on top of it. Now, there's a couple of things with that. If you choose to use that method, you can't reuse the jar and cleanse it off because it's been sealed in with all of those energies, and you also will struggle to get all the wax off without damaging the jar and obviously having remnants of a previous spell on it. So that's another reason that I don't use that method with this spell. I like the tea light because it's clean, it's nice and easy to use, and once done, you can just throw away this container here or recycle it. It's completely up to you, but it doesn't damage this in any way. It doesn't leave wax over it, and it doesn't leave any remains of the previous spell. So once I cleanse it off, the jar is reusable as I see fit. So that's something else to consider when you're doing this, guys, but choose the method that you feel is right for you and what you're drawn to. There's no right or wrong with this. So as I say, always you want to start with cleansing all of your ingredients. So I'm going to light my Palo Santos. Just give me a minute, guys, because they can be kind of slow. Okay. Once you're all cleansed, you're then going to want to start by placing your mirror on, as I say, a safe surface. So I'm choosing my actual pentacle disc from my altar. And then you want to place your glass container on that, ready. And then first thing you're going to want to do then is write out your petition. So as I say, for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be choosing random names. So I'm going to write Ben, Bob, and Bill. So let's say they're the people I wish to protect. Then all you're going to want to do at this point is write the things on this that you want to protect them from. So what you want to remember is you want to turn this away from you because you're repelling all of those negative energies, thus keeping them safe within this container. So usually if you're bringing things towards you, you turn it clockwise, but if you're not and you're repelling things, you turn it anti-clockwise. So you want to turn it that way. So once you've done that, you write on what you want to protect them from. So I protect these people from evil forces, negativity, evil spells, bad omens, gossip and ill will, as well as demons, entities and evil spirits, and all unknown forces. I like to put unknown forces on a lot of my petitions just in case. It kind of covers all the bases. And then again, you're going to want to fold this away from you like so. And then again, you want to turn it anti-clockwise, which is that way for me. So I'm turning it like that, and again, folding it away. And then again, away and down. So again, you don't have to have this particularly very big, and then once it's in there, just drop it inside. And then this is the point where you're just going to want to add the things into it that you feel you want to have in this. So one of my faves to work with is pink Himalayan salt. It's really good at protecting the family, and it's a good loving salt as well. So I'm going to pour a good healthy chunk of that inside the glass. I'm also going to use rosemary in this one because rosemary is really good for communication. So it helps reduce arguments in the family, and it helps to bring about understanding and clarity in a situation as well. And it's good for problem solving so that you don't automatically assume everything is negative and you can solve your own problems. I'm going to add in birch leaves because that's also one of my faves to work with. So really good for protection, exorcism, removing all forms of evil, but also purification. I'm going to add in angelica root for this one because it's going to protect against evil spells and witchcraft specifically. And then I'm going to go for Anise Star. I'm just going to add one of those in there. Again, doesn't have to be a lot in these guys, just a little bit. And then I'm going to add some eggshell powder because it has deflective qualities, so it actually matches the spell we're doing. Another one of my faves is clove buds, so I'm going to add a few of those in there as well. And I like frankincense as my protection oil, so I'm going to add a couple of drops of that in there. Also smells really nice. Once I'm done there, I seal the lid, and this is the point where you're going to want to charge the items to do what you want to do and get ready to read your spell. So I usually like the spell in front of me, and don't worry, I will show you the spell in a moment, guys. I call upon eggshell powder, anise star, angelica root, birch leaves and the pink Himalayan salt to protect the people listed within, keep them safe from all outside forces, deflect and repel all negativity, keep away any evil curses and break any that are in existence, detoxify and purify all the energies of negativity. I call upon rosemary to keep away evil spirits, repel the evil eye, and to protect these people while they dream safe and sound at night. I call upon the clove bud for protection in all areas of life and to allow these people to be successful, unhindered or blocked by outside forces. So as I say, this is the point now where you're going to want to place the candle on top and be prepared to say your spell and light it. So this is the spell. Mirror shield, where you are set, no spell may pass, nor ill beget. All devils captured in thy face are driven backwards from this place. Nothing enters this mirrored wall, no more, no less, return it all. And light the candle and then leave it on top to burn down. So this is nice and simple, guys. And as I say, I like the tea light version because it means that this can safely burn down to charge this jar with all of the energies that I want to include, and I can add to it over time throughout the year. Now this spell again will only last for about a year, or as long as I keep refreshing it with the candles. But I like to keep this going for the year, and as I say, in intervals, light tea lights to keep it charged. And then once the last part of the year is coming up, where I know it's due to be refreshed, I'll empty out the contents and fresh up all the herbs inside it, write out a brand new petition, burning away the old, and I'll often bury all the old ingredients as well into the earth to keep it protected. And what I'm doing there is I'm layering the magic, and I often write down where I buried it so I can rebury every year in the same location. And that again is just layering the magic and infusing the earth with that protective quality, and you know where you're going to, and you know that it's protected and safe by the earth. And it just, again, it's a good place to go to. It's like where I go to bury curses and hexes I've removed as well. I have a different location for that that's not on my property, and I go to the same zone over and over. I go to the same crossroads to work crossroads magic. So you start to get patterns in witchcraft, guys. So it's good to form those patterns. So my recommendation is to keep notes of where you bury things in your garden, so that if you want to layer the magic or go back and increase that spell's success, you know where it's buried, so you can easily go and dig it up and make a new hole and bury further energies on top of that to layer it. And that's the spell, guys. This one, so I'd pause at this point, guys. And then the spell for the first video was the protection spell, so that's this one here. And that's it, guys. So that's all I've got for you. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope this has helped you with a few more ideas for protection magic. So I have done a previous video on using just a candle for candle magic, and concentrating all your energy in that. These ones, you're charging a jar and you're keeping the jar nice and safe on this protective shield. And the other one was more about a candle charging protection spell using the triple goddess and her energies. So in each of these spells, I do recommend a few things. So firstly, I always recommend casting a circle. In protection work in particular, it's really good for actually keeping out outside forces that you don't want in your spell work. I also recommend that you cleanse all your tools and you cleanse yourself as well before you begin. And I always recommend that you remember fire safety is important, so make sure you've got a jug of water or some way to extinguish any flames that get out of control in case there's any accidents. And with your mirror shields, you can draw and write sigils on the back of them to increase their magic and potential. And the same with your dishes, you can actually put photos underneath or protective symbols, or you can burn sigils of protection into your candles as well and use the ashes as an extra ingredient. So there's a few more ideas for you there, guys. Now choose the methods that you like and adapt these as you see fit. But if you enjoyed it, as always, give me that important thumbs up. Click the bell button so YouTube will tell you when my next video is coming out. And if you'd like to follow me and support me on any of my other social media, I am on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course I'm on Patreon as well. And for those of you who choose to support me on Patreon, thank you very much in advance. I do appreciate it. So I'll see you all very soon, guys. Blessed be.